How to write the perfect resume and get the job you want. What is a resume? A resume is a personal and professional summary of your background and qualifications. It usually includes information about your education, career objectives, work experience, activities, awards or honors, and any other special skills you might have. Essentially, it's your passport to securing a great job. So all resumes have certain essential aspects to it. And this video helps you to follow the guidelines to create a successful resume. A few of those guidelines are: number one, limit your resume to one page. Use no less than size 10 font because it has to be legible, right? So size 12, but not too big, size 12 is generally a good font size. You want to use readable and clear font. Generally, the most accepted is Times New Roman. Always, always, always check for spelling errors and triple check for any typos. Now it's time for us to begin to write our resume. So, the first thing at the top of the page is going to be your contact information. You're going to put your name, address, email address, phone numbers, or plural phone numbers at the top of your resume. Always bold your name so it stands out. The example we have here is John Ray Levies. He lives in Sacramento, California. He's got his email address, he's got his home phone number, and his cell phone number. Notice he doesn't put his actual physical street address, just the city in which he lives. Also, if you don't have a home phone number and only have a cell phone number, that's fine. Just include that information. Next is a section called the objective statement. An objective statement is the first line on your resume after your personal information. It's a sentence fragment with descriptive phrases and minimal punctuation. It includes skills, qualifications, and strengths which are related to the job you are applying for. You want to use a confident tone in this sentence fragment, but you don't want to come across pompous or presumptuous. And worst of all, you definitely don't want to sound arrogant. So, with objective statements, you want to avoid being too general. Objective, a position utilizing all of my skills, experience, and knowledge. That's too general. That's too general. No employer has any idea of what your skills or experience or even your knowledge is. They don't know. Avoid being too general. Avoid being foolish. My goal is to become a meteorologist, but since I possess no training in meteorology, I suppose I should be a stockbroker. That's just ridiculous. Avoid statements like that. Always be clear and concise. Objective, a position as a copy editor for the Sacramento Bee, allowing me to develop my journalism skills. Notice that this is what the person has skill wise, what their experience is, and what their knowledge is, right? Objective, to utilize my restaurant service training as a general manager of Red Lobster. Again, the company you're hiring for, what your experience is, and your general knowledge, right? The next section is your education section. So, for recent college graduates and students applying for internships, this is a really important section. You only want to include your high school if you have not received a higher degree or taken any college courses. GPA, that's not necessary to include unless you think it's going to be helpful, right? If your GPA is 3.0 or higher, maybe include it, especially if it comes with academic honors. Recent graduates or students that are still in school, you should include your extracurricular activities, projects, or academic achievements. Always list relevant courses you've taken that pertain to the occupation or the job that you are applying for. Here are some examples of what the education section could look like. A master's in communication, earned May 2007. If you haven't earned it and you have an anticipated graduation date of May 2023, you could put that anticipated graduation, May 2023. From California State University, Sacramento, Sacramento, California, Dean's List, Grade point average 3.9 to 4.0. Notice that the grade point average is included because it pertains to the award given as the dean's list on the dean's list. A bachelor's degree in film studies, May of 2004. If you are currently enrolled in high school and you have not taken any college courses, you could also put your anticipated graduation date. Or if you are currently enrolled in a university, you could say currently enrolled with the anticipation graduation date of, and insert that. Then you also, like I said before, want to include relevant courses, classic American films, the philosophy of literature and film, screenwriting, the films of Alfred Hitchcock. So let's review. Here's what the three sections we've covered so far would look like. Notice the formatting. You wouldn't include the personal information next to where you have your personal information. That's just on its own at the top of the paper. Objective statement, and then the education. Next comes the worst work experience and qualifications. So you want to include company names, location, job title, dates, and duties performed. You want to make this section clear, concise, well spaced, organized. Use bullet points. Remember, the goal for this area is to stand out amongst the other applicants and to persuade the employer that you are the ideal candidate for the job. You always want to include the positions you've held that are related to the job you are seeking. Remember, these positions may include paid positions. If you have not had a job yet, but you've worked as an internship at an internship or have volunteered, you want to include that information as well. Volunteer work is very important. Don't forget, be creative with this part of the resume by describing and emphasizing your experiences in the most logical ways possible. The next section are your specialized skills and interests. This is the final section of the resume. Therefore, it's the most important to kind of leave a lasting impression. Similar to other sections of your resume, you want to try and relate your skills to the desired job. You want to include skills such as computer knowledge, foreign language expertise, military service, music abilities, or anything else that separates you from the crowd. Perhaps your social media profiles set you apart from the crowd. Maybe you have a YouTube channel that has a really big following that pertains to the job. Include that. You want to set things up to set yourself apart from everyone else that's applying for that job. Here are the top 10 resume pet peeves. These are things you should always try and avoid. Always try and avoid spelling errors, typos, poor grammar, too duty oriented, inaccurate dates or not including dates at all, inaccurate or missing contact information. If this company wants to hire you and they go to call your phone number and your phone number isn't in service, you're not going to get a job. So make sure that that contact information at the top of your resume is the most up to date current working phone numbers and information. Long resumes, anything more than a page, writing long paragraphs in that resume. Utilize bullet points. Don't write long paragraphs. Personal information unrelated to the job, don't include it. Always maintain professional decorum with your resume. If you're an unqualified candidate, if the formatting is off on your resume, if it's difficult to look at and to read and to understand, your resume is not going to be selected. Resumes also not written in chronological order. It makes it confusing. So always write from the most recent to the furthest date. This is an example of the finished product. So this applicant, the formatting, notice that it's clear. Things are bolded to stand out, right? The different sections of the resume are bolded. The positions that they had, the universities they attended are bolded. Their expertise, their experience is listed right below their name. They have their physical address here, as well as phone number, right? An email address. Objective, the experience they've had, the education, and then awards and skills down at the bottom. So you always notice that those dates are in chronological order from most recent to furthest back. That brings us to the end of how to write a resume. I hope you've learned how to write a resume, and I hope you have a great day and get that job that you deserve. Thank you.